YouTube classes. So as you already know what is Swiflearn, so let me remind you again, and also for those who have not yet know about Swiflearn. So Swiflearn is the India's most sincere learning destination for classes 1 to 10. Okay, so over here all the classes are 100% live and interactive classes. So whatever you do in the classes, you can ask any sort of doubt, you can interact with the teachers, everything will be totally live and interactive in the classes. Secondly, we give the personalized attention to each and every students of our batches, because our batches consist of maximum number of 6 students, not more than that. That help us to keep an eye on the student, as well as how you are doing all the work properly in the classes, how you're performing in the homework. If you have any sort of doubt, you can also ask us in the classes. So everything will be done in the classes only, right? Thirdly, we will have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously keep a track on the students' progress. So, how again you were doing the homework in the classwork, in which topic you were lagging, in which topic you were totally fine. So these are all tracked by the academic mentor team, and accordingly you will get the progress report. So according to the progress report, you will be able to improve yourself, right? So this is very important, and this is very good to get a feedback how you are doing, and accordingly to act to improve it, right? This will be very helpful. And the fourth thing, which is also very important, that is, we cover the syllabus as per your school examination schedule. That means whatever chapters is going on in your school, so you can tell us to do those chapters first. So we will do those chapters first, and then we will move on to the other chapters which are there in the syllabus, right? So this type of custom request generally we handle. So these are the general features of Swiflearn, as you already know by now. And let me tell you what are the key features. So first of all, we maintain the detailed progress report of each and every student. So how you were doing in the classes, how you were understanding all the concepts, you were asking all the doubts or not, everything concept is clear to you or not, you were performing all the class, you were attending all the classes or not, you were performing good in your homework or not, then you were practicing the different practice states or not. These will be all there in the progress report, and in certain interval you will get the progress report, and your parents will be able to understand where you were lagging, so you can work on it and you can improve yourself, right? So this will be very much important. Fine. Secondly, we have the in Swiflearn academic test series, in short, which we call the SATs, so which happen in every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can uh, perform over there, you can do all the tests. It will be like the Olympiad type of exam. So all over India, every part students used to participate over there, and your name will be in the leaderboard, and your rank will be on the leaderboard, right? So you will be able to understand what is your rank all over India, right? Thirdly, you can take unlimited practice test, which we have after completing each and every topic of all the subjects. You can go through the practice test, and accordingly you can like uh, solve all the question answer. It consists of both the objective and subjective question answers. So objectives may definitely MCQs, filling the blanks, match the column, true false, whatever comes, it will come in the objective. And subjective test, which is also very important before going to the school exam as well as the board examination. You have to practice writing the subjective answers, right? So what do you mean by the subjective test? The different questions which are the long answer type question, you have it in 3 marks or 5 marks. So how to write those answer, what are the key points you should include, we will tell them you everything. So we have a very good group of teacher who will give you the tips according to how to write the answer, subjective answer, where to include the diagram, where to include the chemical reaction if any. So accordingly you can practice them and you will score better, right? So all these are the key features of Swiflearn. So to experience all these things, what you have to do, yes, you already know and you already do, I know. You have to book a free trial class. So now, all the trial classes are free of cost. You can book any time and do the trial class, experience all these things. And enrollment is also going on for the new admission, for the new session. The admission is also going on. So please enroll yourself in Swiflearn and come to our regular classes so that you can experience all these necessary things. So be with Swiflearn and stay with Swiflearn. Stay throughout the session so that we can we will come to know about a very varieties of things today about the tissue. As you already know, you can see over here the plant tissue and animal tissue chapter is going on. So as you already have done, I guess you have subscribed our channel. Those who have not subscribed, please subscribe our channel now and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming sessions. Fine. So stay with Swiflearn and like, comment, and share. Don't forget to share with your friends and family, and don't forget to like. Right? Okay. Now let us start with the today's topic. So as you already know that today we will study about the tissue chapter. The tissue is the chapter which includes both the plant tissue and the animal tissue, which is there in ICSE syllabus of class 7. So according to class 7 syllabus, we will study the tissue. Okay, so in the previous sessions, you already have an idea about the tissue. What is tissue? What are the different types of tissue? You have already got an idea about the animal tissue, right? So in the animal tissue, you already have studied about the epithelial tissue and the connective tissue. Basically, in today's session, we will discuss about some more different types of tissues like the muscular tissue and nervous tissue, which will be included under the animal tissue, and then we will move on to the plant tissue. So all of you are ready? Yes, I guess everyone is ready. So please write hi, hello in the chat box so that we can interact with each other and we will do the session. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to the topic, that is the tissue. So these are the learning objectives for today's session. We will study first about the muscular tissue. So what is a muscular tissue? What are the various types of muscular tissue? We will discuss. Fine. Then we will come to the nervous tissue. So the total description, explanation of the nervous tissue we will study, and the different parts of the nervous tissue, mainly the different parts of the neuron we will study today. Okay. So the description as well as the diagrams are very important in this chapter. So do practice the diagram also. So I will show you some simple types of diagram while teaching, and definitely you take a notebook and pen with you so that you can also note down the important points as well as the very easy type of diagrams you can also draw with me. Okay, then we will study about the plant tissue. So basically in plant tissue we will study only about the meristematic and permanent tissue today, and the various types, the names of the meristematic and permanent tissue. Fine. We will not go in detail about the permanent tissue today. So we will just go through the uh, simple permanent tissue, which will include the parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. What are the features, characteristic features of all this parenchyma, sclerenchyma, and collenchyma we will study, as well as we will study about the their functions and their differences. What are the differences between the parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma? We will see today these things, and then we will move on to the complex permanent tissue in the next session. Okay, so I guess all of you are ready now. Yes. Okay, so let us recall some of the concepts which we have already studied in the previous sessions, right? So we have already studied about the different types of tissues. In the previous session mainly we have studied about the connective tissue. So what do you mean by connective tissue? Hi Abhijit, how are you? Yes, Abhijit, can you please tell me what is connective tissue? Please write it in the chat box. Let me see how much you have already understood and how much you have already like you can recall, you can remind it. Okay. Okay, please write down what do you mean by the connective tissue and list down the names of its types. Yes, hello Abhijit. I have got your message. So please write down what is connective tissue. What is connective tissue according to you? From the name only we can get an idea what can be the connective tissue, right? The word connective will tell you, give you an idea about the definition of the connective tissue. Hannah, so tell me what is the definition of the connective tissue, as well as the different types of connective tissue which you have already studied in the previous session. Yes, so any idea? Yes, connective tissue means the tissue which makes a connection between the different organs. So connective से ये पता चल जाता है कि this is a type of tissue which will make some connections with the different organs, right? So when the different organs are coming in contact with each other or connected with the tissue, that type of tissue is known as the connective tissue. And the different types of connective tissue we have already studied. That is, we can broadly divide it into three main categories. One is the supportive tissue, second is the fluid connective tissue, and the third one is the connective tissue proper. Okay, so you have already studied about the supportive tissue that will give you a proper skeletal system, right? So supportive tissue is also known as the skeletal tissue because it gives you a proper skeleton of your body. Skeleton means the whole system which is made up of the different types of bones, right? So the bones and cartilages, these are the two main types of connective tissues which will come under this supportive tissue or the skeletal tissue. Fine. Now coming to the second one is the fluid connective tissue. What are the fluid connective tissue? Which can flow through the different vessels, right? Either in the blood vessels or the lymph vessels. So what two fluid connective tissues will come under this one? One will be the blood. Okay, one will be the blood and second one will be the lymph. So blood will flow through the blood vessels like the arteries, veins and capillaries, and the lymphs will flow through the lymph vessels. Fine. You have already studied about the characteristics and functions of all these tissues. I'm not going into detail about this because in the previous session we have already covered it. And thirdly, the connective tissue proper. So connective tissue proper में क्या आता है? Four types of main connective tissue. One is the areolar tissue. Second one is the adipose tissue, which we also call as the fat tissue. Okay, which are stored within our body and they provide energy whenever it is needed. Then the tendons, which actually help to connect a bone with the muscle, and the ligament which connect the one bone with another bone. So these are the four different types of connective tissues proper which we have already studied. So this is the broad category of the connective tissue we have already studied. So let me ask you one question from here. Okay, let me see you have already remember it or not. Okay, so can you tell me which cell is present to make the bone, which is the main cell which help to make the bone, and which is the main cell which will make the cartilage? Yes, Abhijit, if you have any question you can write it in the chat box only. Okay, so let me see who can give me the correct answer. The cell which will make the bone and the cell which makes the cartilages. Let me see, and as you already know that whoever will give me the correct answer properly, I'll write his name or her name at the end of the session on the screen, and he or she will be the student of the session, right? So please continuously write it in the chat box and do like, comment and share. Okay, now let's move on to today's main topic, that is the muscular tissue. Okay, today we will mainly study about the two other different types of animal tissues. One is the muscular tissue and second one is the nervous tissue. Fine. So what do you mean by muscular tissue? So from the word only you can guess something, right? Muscular. So where can it be present in our body? Can it be present anywhere else other than muscles? No. So the muscular tissue is the tissue which is present in the muscles, right? Okay. So what is the main function of the muscle? Now you tell me. Have you ever thought of if muscle is not there in our body, so what would be the thing, or we will be able to move or locomote or move from one place to another or not? Yes, it is not at all possible to move from one place to another or move our body parts like our face, hand and leg and any part of the body without the muscle, right? So the muscular tissue helps in the movement of the body organ. That is the very important function of muscular tissue, and also the locomotion of the organism. So muscular tissue is very important in which are present in all the animal bodies, right? So do you think that muscular tissue is present in plants? No, it is not present, right? And that is why plant cannot work or plant cannot move from one place to another. Muscular tissues are present in the animals, and that help the animals to locomote, to move from one place to another. Yes, Abhijit, you were asking about RBC. Yes, RBC is the red blood cell, which is a component of blood. Okay, and as you already know, that blood is the fluid connective tissue. Okay, got the answer? Okay. Now, this muscular tissue helps in the bodily movement and the locomotion, as well as how will it help to move or locomote? It must have some mechanism. What is the mechanism? The mechanism will be contraction and relaxation. So, continuously, the contraction and relaxation of the muscle cells help in the movement and locomotion of the living organism. Clear up to this much? Now let's move on to what are the cells which help to make the muscular tissue. So the cells which help to make the muscular tissue are known as the myocytes. Okay, so myocytes are the cells which help to make the muscular tissue. As I have already said, asked you the question, what is the cell which help to make the bones? That is the osteocyte. And what is the cell which helps to make the cartilages? They are the chondrocyte. Okay, so similarly, the muscle cells are known as the myocytes, which together arranged in a proper way to and perform a specific function to make the muscular tissue. Clear? Yes. Now this myocytes are referred to as the muscular fiber also. Okay, so these are also known as the muscle fibers. And why they are known as the muscle fibers? They, because they are elongated in one direction. So I'm trying to draw one muscle cell at the in the side of your screen. So muscle cell, mainly the smooth muscle cell, seems to be like this. It has the elongated structure like this. Okay, so the myocytes are having the elongated structure, and that is why they are known as the muscle fibers also. Clear hai? Up to this much clear? Now let me tell you one thing, that in this chapter basically the main important thing which you have to keep it in mind is the structure, function and the location of all the tissues, right? It is mainly, this chapter is a little bit about memorizing, okay, rather than understanding. But if you can understand all the things and if you can relate the different words, you will be able to write the definition on your own as well as the location and functions on your own. So try to get the concept, the main understanding which will lie on the words only. Okay, so from the word you will be able to give the total description of the whole tissue chapter, and you have to memorize a little bit about the characteristic features of all the tissues. Fine. So you can do one thing, make a chart. Okay, the best way to remember all this thing is make a chart in your copy. So make 3 columns. Okay, in the first column write the name of the tissue. Second column write the location of the tissue. Okay, third column write the function of the tissue. So location and function are the main thing. Apart from that, in the fourth column, wherever you will find the structure in detail, write the structure. So the structure is always not present in detail in your syllabus. So the first main 3 things will be the name of the tissue, location of the tissue and function of the tissue. And the fourth column, that is an additional column, write down the structure. Okay? So by making this chart, it will help you to remember about all the different tissues of plant as well as the animal. Got it now? Yes? Okay. So this making of the chart will be your homework. Okay? Chaliye. So let's now move on to the different types of the muscles. So what are the various types of muscles which are present in the human body? So these are the 3 main types of the muscles which are classified according to their position and structure. Okay, as well as their function is also very important over here. You can see number 1 is the cardiac muscle. Okay, let me ask you the question, like What do you mean by the cardiac muscle? You can relate this with this diagram and write it down in the chat box. Let me see who can give me the correct answer. What do you mean by cardiac muscle? Or you can write where these cardiac muscles are found. Okay, and what can be the function of the cardiac muscle? Fine. Now coming to the second one, that is the smooth muscles. Where can be the smooth muscles present? What is the main function of the smooth muscle? And what can be the structure of the smooth muscle? Okay, so let me see who can give me the correct answer in the chat box. So he or she will be the student of the session. Yeah. Okay. And the third one is the skeletal muscle. Again, from the picture, you can see that what is the skeletal muscle, where it is found, what can be the structure, what can be the function of this skeletal muscle. Let me see who can give me the answer in the chat box. Okay, so these are the three main types of muscles according to their position as well as the structure. Okay, so these are the three types of muscles which are present in our body. First one is the cardiac muscle, second is the smooth muscle, and third one is the skeletal muscle. Fine. Up to this much clear hai? If you have any doubt, please write it in the chat box. Now let's move on to the functions of the muscle. So what can be the function of the muscle? The very first function will be movement and locomotion. Without muscle, we will not be able to move. Like I'm moving my hand, I'm explaining everything, I'm talking, and that is why my facial muscles are also working, right? So these are the different functions of the muscles. Fine. So they are responsible for the movement as well as the locomotion of the different living organism. So when you are walking, what are the muscles which are continuously contracting and relaxing? Your leg muscles, right? If you do any sort of exercise, so continuously all the muscles which are present within your body, they are contracting and relaxing in a rhythmic manner, right? So this movement and locomotion is the vital function of all the muscles. Secondly, these muscles are responsible for the facial expressions. So if you are worried, if you cry, if you laugh, if you do like this, if you you showed the various types of facial expressions because of the muscles which are attached with your skull. Okay, so as you already know that this is the skull, the brain box, as well as all the different bones which are present in the head region, and the different muscles which are attached with this will come under the facial, with the facial muscles, right? And these muscles are responsible for the different facial expression. Got it? Yes. Now coming to the other vital functions of the muscles, which continuously happen without our will, but continuously it is happening, and they are always helping us for the total survival. Okay, so what are this? The beating of the heart, production of the sound. Like I'm talking, so sound is produced from my vocal cord, right? So there are the muscles which are vibrating and producing the sound from the vocal cord, right? Then the breathing regulation. So all these types of involuntary activities which we can say that which are not on our will, but all of them are happening continuously within our body. These are all due to the different types of muscles which are attached with all the internal organs of our body. Clear up to this much? Yes. Any question till now? Yes, Abhijit. Any question? Okay, now let us move on to the different types of muscular tissue. So, what are the various types of muscular tissue? We have already discussed that according to the location, function, and structure, based on these three factors, we can divide the muscles into three main types. So, what can be the three main types? First one is the striated muscle or voluntary muscle. Second one is the cardiac muscle, and the third one is the non-striated or involuntary muscles. So we will study about these three main types of muscles. Now, do you have any idea of another name of the striated muscle or the voluntary muscle? Yes, this is also known as the skeletal muscle. Okay, So they have the three names, but three of them are the same thing: skeletal muscle, or these are also known as the striated muscles, or these are also known as the voluntary muscles. Clear hai? Why they are known as skeletal or striated or voluntary, I'll give you the whole detail of it in this session only. ठीक है? Now, next one is the cardiac muscle. As you already know, cardiac matlab anything which is related to the heart. So when the muscles are attached with the heart, these muscles are known as the cardiac muscle. And definitely they are involuntary because they are not on our will, right? Continuously the heart is beating and the muscles contraction and relaxation of the cardiac muscle is continuously happening. Clear? Hai? Now coming to the third type of muscle. The third type of muscle is also having another name, that is the smooth muscle. Okay, the smooth muscle is also known as the non-striated muscles because they do not have striations on their body. I will tell you what is striation, what are the how they look like and everything, all the detail I'll definitely tell you. And they are involuntary. Why involuntary? Because they are not on our will, they continuously relaxing and contracting on their own. Okay, because they are all attached with the internal organs. So this non-striated and involuntary muscles are known as the smooth muscles. Striated and voluntary muscles are known as the skeletal muscles, and the third type of muscle is known as the cardiac muscle. Up to this much clear hai? If you have any doubt, please write down in the chat box. Yes, any doubt till now? Okay. Again, I'm telling you this chapter, this topic is most about remembering rather than understanding. So, definitely you have to know the concepts and you have to understand where it is present, why it is called so. But to remember all these things, what you have to do? You have to make a chart, right? I have already told you what will be the columns of the chart. I'll again tell you at the end of this session. Now, coming to the very first type of muscle, that is the striated muscle or the voluntary muscles. So, these are mainly associated with the skeleton. Look at the picture over here. You can see the bones, right? Yes, the radius ulna and the humerus. Yes, these are the bones, and the muscles are attached with the bones. And continuously, when we are doing like this, the contraction and relaxation of the two muscles attached with the bones are happening. So, this type of muscles which are attached with the bones are known as the skeletal muscles. Fine. Now, skeletal muscles are also having the two other names, that is striated muscle and the voluntary muscle. So I will tell you why it is also known as striated muscle and voluntary muscle. So these are known as the striated muscles because if you see this type of muscle under the microscope, you will see the dark and light colored band. So look at this picture. Okay, so in this picture, can you see the dark band and the light band? Again, dark band and a light band. Alternatively, it is having a dark and a light band. Yes, these are known as the striations. Okay, you can see this striations. Okay, can you see this dark color and the dark and light colored band on this muscles? This light and dark band you can see under the microscope, and that is why this is known as the striated muscles. Okay, because of having this striations, and they are having this nucleus. You can see the nucleus are multiple nucleus are present in each of the muscle fiber. Yes, so these are the different characteristic features of this striated muscles or the voluntary muscles. Fine. Now let us move on to the fact or the concept why it is known as voluntary muscle. So what do you mean by voluntary? As you already know by now that involuntary matlab anything which is not on our will. Okay, it is automatically happening. But voluntary means which are controlled by ourselves, which are present or which can happen on our will. So I want to move my hand and that is why I'm moving the hand. I want to move my head and that is why I'm moving my head, and that is on our control. So this type of muscle will always function depending on our control. Okay, we can control this type of muscle, and that is why this type of muscle is known as voluntary muscles. Okay, up to this much clear? So what are the three different types of characteristic feature we have studied? First of all, these muscles are attached with the bones, that is why they are known as the skeletal muscle. Secondly, they are attached with the they are having the light and dark colored band, and that is why it is known as the striated muscle. And they are controlled by us, right? We can control this type of muscle during movement and locomotion, and that is why this type of muscle is also known as voluntary muscles. Clear, Hannah, up to this much? Yes? Okay. Now, let us move on to the second type of muscle, that is the non-striated or involuntary muscle, right? So definitely from the name only you will come to know that non-striated. Matlab, there is no light and dark bands, right? So in the striated muscles, we saw the dark and light band when we see them under the microscope. But in this type of muscle, if we see them under the microscope, we will not be able to see any sort of band. Okay, any sort of uh, like dark or light colored band, and that is why this is smooth. When you will see under the microscope, it seems to be totally smooth. And see, look at this picture over here. This is a microscopic picture of our intestine. So this is totally smooth, no striations are there. Okay, and again this is the involuntary muscle. Iska matlab kya hai? These are not on our control. Continuously whatever contraction and relaxation is happening within the different internal organs, like the stomach, like the small intestine, like kidneys, like any other different lungs and all, so they are not on our will. Continuously the contraction and relaxation is happening on their own, okay, automatically, and that is why these are known as the involuntary muscles. So from here you already got an idea, these are the non-striated muscles. Okay, non-skeletal muscle also, because these are not attached with the skeleton, these are attached with the internal organs, right? Non-striated because they do not have the striations, and they are involuntary because they are not uh, on the control of our will. Okay, it is not under our control, it happens, it contracts and relaxes on its own. Fine, up to this much clear, Hannah? Yes. Okay, now let us move on to the muscles which where it is found. Basically, they are found, as I've already said, it is found in the internal organs. So, what can be the internal organs? It can be the stomach, urinary bladder, it can be the small intestine, blood vessels, it can be the kidneys, it can be the lungs. So, all the internal organs are present, and smooth muscles are attached with all these internal organs. So, this is not on our will. We cannot control the contraction and relaxation of this muscle. Up to this much clear? Hi Deepak, how are you? Okay, now let us move on to the third type of muscle. So the third type of muscle is the cardiac muscle. So from this name cardiac, you already have got an idea what is cardiac. Yes? Can you tell me what do you mean by cardiac muscle and where it is mainly present? Yes, you can get an idea from this picture also. What is this picture about? It is our human heart, right? So the muscles which are attached with this heart is known as the cardiac muscle or heart muscles. Okay, so these are shorter than other muscles and definitely thicker also than the other different types of muscles. So these are the cylindrical muscle. Let me show you by drawing the picture of the cardiac muscle. It seems to be like this. They have the different branches, and with the different branches they are attached with each other. Okay, they are attached with each other. They are the branched muscles having their nucleus. Okay, So this is one type of cardiac muscle I have drawn for you. Okay, so it seems to be like this. They have the branch structure and the network, and definitely this is also non-striated. They do not have their striations. Okay, they do not have their striations on them, like the dark and light bands are not present. Secondly, they are involuntary. Definitely we cannot control our heartbeat, right? Or continuously the pumping of the heart, it happens automatically. So this is involuntary, it happens on its own. And thirdly, they are uninucleate, matlab only one nucleus is present in each of the muscle fiber, as I have drawn. Can you see? One nucleus is only present in each of the muscle fiber, this cardiac muscle fiber. Up to this much totally clear hai? Yes, this is the easiest drawing. Okay, so these are the very small drawings which you have to practice while studying this chapter. Now let us move on to the fourth type of muscle of the human being, or definitely the fourth type of animal tissue, that is the, not muscle, very sorry, the fourth type of animal tissue, that is the nervous tissue. Okay, so the nervous tissue, as you already know, it is totally found in the nervous system. Fine. If we think about the central nervous system only, what are the different organs which are associated with the central nervous system? Yes, let me find this answer from you in the chat box. Okay, what are the main organs associated with the central nervous system? Okay, so please write it in the chat box. Yes, Abhijit. Yes, Deepak. Whoever is listening in this session, I know everyone is listening. So please write down the answer. Okay. Now, this nervous tissue is made up of a special type of cell which is known as neuron. So, you have already heard about neuron, right? So, the neuron seems to be like this. They have a head and have a tail. Okay, the head-like structure is known as the cell body. Okay, the cell body, and they have the dendrites. These are the different branches you can see. These are the dendrites, and thirdly they have a long tail which is known as the axon. Okay, so these are the main three parts of the nerve cell or the neurons, and these nerve cells or the neurons together make the nervous tissue. So these are the main structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Okay, now let us study in detail about the different parts of the neuron. So the very first part is the cell body or the cyton. Okay, this is the cell body or the cyton. You can see I have drawn in the box. So the cell body is the central part having the mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, and everything, nucleus, everything whatever we have in a normal uh, animal cell only, right? The cytoplasm and everything is present within this head of the neuron, that is known as the cell body. Fine. Secondly, these are the branch like structure. Can you see the branch like structures coming out? Yes, these are known as the dendrites or dendrons. The short branches which are coming out from the cell body is known as the dendrites or dendrons. Fine, this is the second one. And the third thing is the axon. So this is the axon. The whole tail is the axon. So how do they work? Basically, the nervous impulse, all the nervous impulses are coming from the different neurons and they are received by this dendrites. Fine. Now, after receiving, they go to the central this cell body, and finally through the axon these nerve impulses move. Can you see the direction of nerve impulse? It is showing in this arrow. They move in this direction and go to the axon terminal, and this axon terminal is the end of one neuron and the beginning of another neuron. Again the dendrite of another neuron begins over here. which makes the synapse basically. Synapse we already know, when one neuron ends and another neuron begins. Okay, so that junction is known as the synapse. So whenever one axon terminals, think that this is the axon terminal of one neuron and this one is the dendrite of one neuron, another neuron. So when they come in contact with each other, the nerve impulse will go from the axon terminal towards the dendrite of the next neuron, and that is how the nerve impulses are carried from one neuron to the next neuron. Clear hai? Up to this much totally clear, I guess? Yes. Okay, so this is how all the nerve impulses are going from all the different parts of our body through the different nerves to the spinal cord and then brain. And after processing, it is coming from the brain and spinal cord to all the different parts of our body. And that is how we will be able to understand what is happening in our body. Clear up to this much? Yes? So this is all about the parts of the neuron. Now let us find out what is the main function of the neuron. As I have already told you, the main function of the neuron is to carry the nerve impulses, right? These are the electrical impulses which are received by the dendrites, and then it is propagated through the axon and they will go to the next cell body, right? So this is how the nerve impulses are propagated from one neuron to another. This is the very first function. And secondly, these nerve cells are specialized for the communication between the various parts of the body and also integration of their activities, right? So the integration of the activities, the different communication, these are all the different functions of the nerve cells. Up to this much clear, Hannah? Yes. Okay, now let me tell you some more idea about, let me give you some more information about the neurons as well as the other different things which are present, different types of cells which are present within our nervous system. So neuron, as you already know, that this is the main unit, the structure and functional unit of the nervous tissue. So they are responsible for carrying all the nerve impulses. Other than this, the neuroglial cells are there which constitute the rest of the neural system. They are basically helpful to give the protection and support to the neurons. Okay, they give mainly the protection and support to the neuron, and this neuroglia make up more than one half of the volume of the total nervous tissue in our body. Clear hai up to this much? Yes. Any question? Okay, let me tell you one other thing, that is neuron or the nervous tissue. Okay, it is made up of like the regeneration power of this nervous tissue is minimum, which means when it is damaged, once it is damaged, it cannot get another chance to regenerate. Okay, because this happens because the cell division is not there in case of the nervous tissues, because the centrosome, that is the main thing which helps in formation of the spindle fiber and the cell division. When you will grow up, you will study the whole process, the mechanism of the cell division, you will study over there that centrosome is the main cellular organelles which are present in animal cells which help in the cell division, but this centrosome is not present in our nerve cells, and that is why cell division does not take place. Okay, as it does not initiate as it is absent in our nerve cell, it cannot initiate the cell division, and that is why regeneration power is the minimum in case of the nerve cells. Clear hai? Hi Vaishnavi, how are you? Up to this much totally clear now? Okay, let's now revise the concept. Let me see who can give me the correct answer first. First question is, what is muscular tissue? You have to tell me a proper definition or whatever is coming to your mind about the muscular tissue. What can be the muscular tissue? Please write it down. Secondly, write down the different functions. What can be the functions of the muscular tissue? Let me see who can give me the correct answer in this chat box. He or she will be the he or she will be the student of the session. Yes. Okay, Vaishnavi, you everything is clear. So write down the answer. Okay, hi Deepika. Okay, you are Drishti. Hi Drishti, how are you? Drishti, can you please write down the definition of muscular tissue and its function? Yes. And my next question is, what are the different types of muscular tissue? Very easy. You have already studied about you were in class 8. Okay, you're class 8 student. Oh, yes, I remember. How are you? Okay. Yes, can you please write down the names of the muscular tissue and the functions of all the different types of the muscular tissue? Yes. And the third question is, what are the main functions of nervous tissue? Let me see. Yes, Vaishnavi, very good. Muscular tissue help in movement. Exactly. So the muscular tissue are the tissue which make up the whole muscle inside our body, and they help mainly in the movement and locomotion of the different body parts. Very good. Muscular tissue helps in movement. Very good, Drishti also. Now let me see who can give me the second answer. Name the different types of the muscular tissue. Yes, we have already studied about the three main types. Remember? Yes. What are the three main types of muscular tissues? One is the skeletal muscles. Second one is the smooth muscles. And third one is the cardiac muscle. Very good. Yes. So I guess you already remember the three names of the muscular tissue. Yes. So the skeletal muscles, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. These are the three main types of the muscular tissue. And what are the main functions of them? Skeletal muscles are attached with the skeleton, and that is why we can move our hand, which will be totally on our will, right? Very good, Vaishnavi. Cardiac muscle also. Yes, cardiac muscle is attached with the heart and continuously it helps in the contraction and relaxation, and the heartbeat takes place. Yes, due to this contraction and relaxation. And the smooth muscles are attached with the internal organs. Okay, so continuously the contraction and relaxation of that muscle helps in the functioning of the different organs, internal organs of our body. Right. Now coming to what is the main function of nervous tissue. Let me see who can give me this answer. I will not tell you the answer. I will expect this answer in the chat box. Very good, very good. Drishti, you have already given me a proper answer. Three types of muscle tissues are cardiac, smooth, and skeletal. Very good. Cardiac muscles located in the heart appear striated. No, beta. Cardiac muscles are not striated. ठीक है, please check it. Cardiac muscles are non-striated, but definitely it is involuntary, okay, which is not under our control. Skeletal muscles are striated muscles having those dark and light colored bands. Fine. Up to this much totally clear है ना? Up to ठीक है? Okay. So let it be up to this much. And what is the main function of the nervous tissue? Yes. What is the main function of the nervous tissue? Who will tell me? The nervous tissue helps in the carrying the nerve impulses from one neuron to another. Okay, it helps to carry the nerve impulses from the different organs towards brain, and from the brain to all the different parts of our body, right? So this is the main function of the nervous tissue. Clear hai? Chaliye, now let us start with the plant tissue. So we will study a very little about the plant tissue, because the plant tissue you have in your syllabus is the mainly the meristematic and permanent tissue, and the classification of meristematic and permanent tissue. We will study a little bit about it in today's session, and definitely we will continue in the next session. Okay. So the plant tissue. What do you mean by plant tissue? Definitely from the word only it is coming to your mind that whatever tissue is present within the plant, those are known as plant tissue. है ना? Very good, Deepika. Nervous tissue is found in brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Good, good, very good answer. And they're responsible for coordinating and controlling all the different body activities. Very good. Muscle contraction create the awareness. Very good. So a very perfect answer I've got from Drishti. Yes. So coming to the plant tissue. So the plant tissue divide throughout the life. Okay, and based on this division, whether they are dividing throughout the life or they are not dividing. So based on this division, we can classify the plant tissue into two main categories. What are they? Yes. Yes, beta, I'll teach class 8 also. Class 8 classes are also parallelly going on, beta. Okay. Okay. So what are these two categories? One is the meristematic tissue and second one is the permanent tissue. So the meristematic tissue is the tissue which go on dividing and dividing continuously. And when they become mature, they will become the permanent tissue and they stop the division. Okay, they will stop the like the division capacity will be stopped in case of the permanent tissue. Clear hai? Now let us move on to the meristematic tissue. Now in the early stages of development, definitely all the cells will start dividing and dividing, and that is why the root and the stems of the plant will grow. Okay, the root will go downward under the ground, and the plant and the stem will grow upward above the ground, as you already know. So in the early stages, all the cells of the plant are will be the permanent tissue, but after the maturation, the meristematic tissues will become the permanent tissue. Clear hai? So there are the three main types of meristematic tissue according to their location. You can see over here. Whatever meristematic tissue is present at the apex, the apical portion, apex of the shoot or apex of the root, those are known as the apical meristem. Clear hai? This one is the very first one, apical meristem. Second one is the intercalary meristem. Okay, present between the nodes. Okay, so you can see these are present between the nodes. And third one is the lateral meristem. The lateral meristems help in the lateral growth. Okay, it helps in increasing in the girth or the diameter of the stem. Okay, so this is the lateral meristem. So these are the three main types of meristematic tissue. Clear up to this much? Yes? Okay. Now let us move on to the different characteristic features of the meristematic tissue. First one is they are oval in shape, spherical, polygonal and rectangular in shape. These are the shapes of the meristematic tissue, meristematic cells. Please remember the shape. Okay. Secondly, these cells are similar in structure and have their cellulose in cell wall. Very important, cellulose. Cellulose is the main component of all the cell walls. Okay, the cell wall of the plant tissue. As you already know, the plant cells are having an extra protective layer outside. The outermost layer is the cell wall, and the cell wall of the plant tissue is made up of cellulose. Clear hai? Yes. Next is these cells are compact. They are arranged compactly and they do not have any sort of intercellular spaces. Let me draw one for you. So these are, if you see the meristematic tissue under the microscope, it seems to be like this. Okay, it seems to be like this, having proper nucleus, and they are compactly present, having no intercellular spaces in between. Okay, intercellular spaces matlab the spaces in between the two cells. Can you see all these cells? They are not having any intercellular spaces, they are totally packed with each other. Okay, having no intercellular spaces, and very prominent nucleus is also present. Okay, they contain more cytoplasm, and very prominent nucleus is also present, prominent large nucleus. Okay, they are compactly arranged with without any intercellular space. So these are the main yes, you have done in class 7th. Yes, Drishti. So these are the main characteristic feature of the meristematic tissue. Clear hai? Up to this much, got an idea how it looks like? And now let's move on to the function of the meristematic tissue. What will be the main function? First of all, it acts as a parent tissue because it starts dividing from the beginning of the plant life, right? And then when it develops into maturity, it will be transferred into permanent tissue. Secondly, it takes part in growth by formation of new cells. New cells are formed over here. Thirdly, all the different plant parts, like help to produce the new leaves, the branches of the stems, the roots, the flowers, fruits, root hairs. These are all made up of the these are all due to the presence of the meristematic tissue, right? And the fourth one, if there is any injury, like if we have any injury, it is repaired by the different tissues. Similarly, same thing happen in case of the plant. When they have any sort of injury, these are also healed up by the meristematic tissue by producing the new cells. So these are the different functions of the meristematic tissue. Clear hai? So I guess up to this much totally it is clear, and in the next class we will study about the meristematic tissue and the permanent tissue. Let me tell you the three main types of the meristematic tissue. One is the apical tissue, second one is the intercalary meristem, as I have already told you the position and function also I have told you, and the third one is the lateral meristem. Right? Hi Shushmita, how are you? Good afternoon. Okay, so let it be up to this much for today's session. Thank you for being with me, and we will continue with this session tomorrow also. In the next session, definitely we will again continue with this meristematic and the permanent tissue. Okay, so let me tell you who is the student of the session today. Whom do you think is the student of the session? Today's student of session is Drishti. She has given most of the answers correctly in the chat box. So you are the student of the session. Very good. And clap for everyone. Clap for especially Drishti. So thanks for being with us. Thanks for being with Swiflearn. And we will continue this topic in the next session also. So be with us, be with Swiflearn, and like, comment, and share. And please do subscribe our channel, the Swiflearn channel in your YouTube, and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming session. Okay, so we will again meet in the next session. So till then, bye bye, take care, stay safe, and